Question: true or false? Masturbating is a helpful way to learn what feels good for you, but it can negatively affect your sex drive because you can use up all of your sexual energy. The answer is false. You can totally use up all of your sexual fluids, but you can't use up all of your sexual energy. Pleasure begets more pleasure. Hi, I'm Samantha, sexual health and consent educator, and this episode of Sexy Sexual Health Education is about self-pleasure. So often when people hear this topic, they immediately think masturbation. And yes, the trivia question was about that, but self-pleasure is actually so diverse. But let's start there anyway by debunking some masturbation myths. 1. Too much masturbation can damage the sensitivity of our junk. And false. For one, too much is relative. If you are showing up to your responsibilities and obligations and your body is feeling okay, then chances are you're not masturbating too much. Let's say that a lot of masturbation has created some desensitization, then my suggestion would be to mix it up. Which brings us to myth number 2, which is that masturbation is all about the genitals. And that's also not true. Masturbation can be about all different parts of your body. It's ultimately about exploring what feels good for you. After all, sexual arousal begins in the brain. It's very important that we decentralize the genitals and our otherwise sexy parts when we're talking about sexual pleasure in general, because for one, it leaves a lot of people out of the conversation, whether that's folks who don't have use of their genitals in a certain way, or perhaps they have a dysmorphic relationship to their genitals, or they've experienced a sexual trauma and sexy parts might not feel self-pleasuring. That takes time to recover and heal. And so when we talk about masturbation as being an all-body experience, then everybody's invited to the party if that's something they want to experience. 3, masturbation is gendered, or that masturbation is only for people of a certain gender. And masturbation is for people all along the gender spectrum. And lastly, number 4, masturbation is bad for you in some way. Actually, it's quite the opposite. There are innumerable, maybe not innumerable, but lots and lots of benefits to masturbating and self-pleasuring. There is the release of sexual tension, but also the release of all sorts of types of stress, body pain, body discomfort, body ache, including menstrual cramps, headaches, and it can also be an important part of the recovery journey for someone who's experienced sexual trauma by empowering them to redefine their relationships to sex and their different parts of their body. But I said that self-pleasure is about more than just masturbation or even sexual pleasure. Self-pleasure is about body self-knowledge. Strong body self-knowledge is important to our confidence as well as our overall health and well-being. Sexual, physical, mental, whether that is in accessing healthcare or just the embodiment of being a human person. Self-pleasure can contribute to our safety and is integral to consent culture. When we're aware of what feels good for us, not just sexually, but as it relates to our bodies in relation to other people's bodies, we know and are better able to assert our boundaries and communicate with others. Knowing what feels good helps us to quicker identify when something isn't feeling good. And again, feel more confident communicating that. Ultimately contributing to more wanted mutual experiences. With all of that knowledge, confidence, and comfort, yes, self-pleasure improves our sexual experiences as well. It improves partnered sex because we're able to identify what's happening in our bodies and how it works. We can let a partner know what's feeling good and what we like, as well as creating space for them to share with us what's feeling good and what they like. All right, all of that sounds amazing. So what's the thing? Why are we talking about this? And the thing is shame. People feel shame about self-pleasure. Most specifically masturbation, but I would say self-pleasure in general. Whether that is old ideas that exist in all those myths that we just debunked, or maybe it's other deep stuff where maybe we feel like we don't deserve it. A lot of that is rooted in sex shame. And while sex shame is all around us and internalized by us, the exciting thing is that it's totally possible to unlearn it. Sex shame, that's rape culture shit, and we're done with all of that. And guess what? By watching this video, you're doing some of that work of unlearning and relearning that pleasure is not something that is given to us. It's something that exists innately within us. Pleasure is beautiful, and you're allowed to have it. The last thing I'll say is that self-pleasure is a great opportunity for meditation, mindfulness, deep breathing, solo quality time, as well as creativity. Creativity, like any other muscle, gets stronger the more you use it. So use your imagination. Whether that's using your imagination about self-pleasuring with whatever's around the house, or it's all taking place in fantasy in your mind. Remember, self-pleasure is about sensual moments, and that can take many, many forms. It can be aromatic like incense, putting on a cute outfit or something that makes you feel really good. Further to that, it can be textural, the way something feels on your skin. I mean, it can be anything. That's it for this episode of Sexy Sexual Health Education. Until next time, be patient with yourself while you're exploring yourself solo or with a partner. You can totally self-pleasure with a partner. Did I mention that?